So welcome, everyone. I'm so glad to see some old faces and some new faces joining us today. And we are going to be talking about different ways that we can teach at a shelter specifically, but also just in your community. Yeah, Judy. Oh, wait, no, oh, okay. Sorry. So your hand coming up. Um, but also like how you can teach in your community, how you can maybe go to a vet's office and teach. I know that Alice Kay has some experience, Kelly had some experience. And it'd be really good to hear from Reverend William Melton also about this because he actually has classes through Compassion Consortium and they have a chaplain service for animals. So that's another great thing that we can do. So hopefully at the end, talk a little bit about that because it's a really great program. In fact, Reverend, I had somebody was asking me about different ways they can support animals, and I referred them to you. So it'd be great if you could just say something at the end, a little bit about your chaplain program, because I really think it's a wonderful. And a few of the SARA members have taken that. So let's get into why we're here, which is teaching classes. So first of all, when you think about teaching classes at a shelter, if you're Animal Reiki trained, you might okay, well, I should do a level 1 or a level 2 class at a shelter. And that's kind of traditionally when we started the Shelter Animal Reiki Association, that's traditionally what we would do. We would teach those classes. But what we found throughout the years was that shelter staff, especially, don't have time for a 16-hour class or even a 12-hour class at a shelter. That's a huge commitment. So what we can do to support shelter staff and even the public and the volunteers is by teaching some really simple classes, right? So if you are a member of SARA, there is the stress relief class that you can teach. And that stress relief class includes breathing techniques, the precepts, and just talks about what am I trying to say? Just talks about your well-being overall, right? So how we can quickly diffuse anger and stress by going into our breath, by breathing into our hara, by making our energy nice and calm. Because again, that's what animals are reacting to, right? They're not reacting to our words, they're reacting to our energy. So by sharing some simple techniques with shelter staff, and yeah, Kelly, compassion fatigue, right? So if we can teach them some really simple techniques that they can use immediately to start bringing kind of peace into their bodies, but also peace into the shelter, peace into their work. And we've talked about this too. A really great way that you can help support shelter in the office, in the admin, is sharing the precepts. Because when we practice the precepts, right? So if you're in an argument with someone, you're like this, you're going to constantly have resistance on both sides. But through the energy of the precepts, we're open, right? So we don't have anger, we don't have worry, we're humble, we're honest, and we're compassionate. And in that space, we're really open. So when someone is coming at us in an argument, they have nothing to bounce off of because we're saying to that person, I see you, I hear you, I understand. We're not saying I agree, but we're saying, I see you, I hear you, and I understand. And that's really when people are in an argument, that's really all they really want at the end of the day is to be seen, heard, and appreciated. You don't have to agree with them. So that's a really wonderful tool that you can share not only with shelter staff, but with vet staff, with grooming staff. You could go into PetSmart and offer to give the local employees a quick demonstration. We're going to talk at the end about pricing, but there's all kinds of different ways that you can make an offering to not only shelters, but different types of organizations. And so the next point I want to talk about is, so what if you don't have materials? What if you are like, okay, yeah, that sounds really great, but I don't have a manual. I don't have, anything really. This is where you can use Kathleen's books, or you can use whatever is on the SARA site, make sure you're always giving reference to whoever you pulled it from, right? That's like 101, when you're using somebody else's materials, always give them credit. It doesn't take away from you at all. I mean, I use Kathleen's stuff and I always give her credit. It doesn't take away from you or your knowledge or your skills. What you're doing is you're just saying this is where it comes from. And again, Kathleen is celebrating 20 years in Animal Reiki this year. So to say that you're a student or that you study through Kathleen is really powerful, because she is the one that created the most reliable system of Animal Reiki. And really, when it comes to Animal Reiki, yes, people were saying you can use human Reiki with animals, but she is the first one to actually create a system dedicated to animals. So we can take information from our website, the SARA website, or from Kathleen's website. You can take stories from her blog. You can take stories from the SARA blog and use those as evidence that what you're want to teach and want to share has validity, right? You can use studies from meditation studies. Our practice is meditation based, which is really wonderful because we can actually turn to meditation studies and say, this is why this works. And there's all kinds, I mean, there's thousands of studies on meditation and why it works. There's even studies on meditation in animals. And a couple of weeks ago, I shared with you a link to a study that they did during COVID about the bond between people who adopted animals and the animals when they were at home. So there's all kinds of studies that you can use to help, and you can even talk about that in your class. There's science behind what we do, right? The power of meditation. But you can also take books like Everything Animal Reiki. So I had to shut my computer down, so I lost my place. So you'll have to bear with me for a minute. But in the Everything Animal Reiki book, that is a book that's got, I think, over 50 meditations. So a really great book for you to use to just share some simple meditations. You could even do a lunchtime kind of presentation at the shelter or at a corporation that supports animals, or like I said, like a PetSmart or somewhere else, and you can share with them, hey, here's a really easy meditation to ground yourself. And the reason I love the Everything Animal Reiki book so much is because it has grounding meditations, right? So I'm not sure how many grounding meditations there are. There's actually quite a few. And then there's also expansion meditations and connection meditations. And Kathleen's even included affirmation meditations. So I highly recommend this book for pulling things that you might want to teach out of. If you want to do a Reiki for dogs class, like, right, maybe you want to specialize in dogs. Kathleen has Reiki for dogs. And in that book, there's all kinds of meditations. There's Kathleen also has an equine heart to heart with horses. That's another one that you can use for, doing an equine class. So there's all kinds of ways that you can create material without having to invent it on your own. And Kathleen encourages SARA members all the time to use her books. She encourages her own students to use her books. So what I'm sharing with you isn't something that's like proprietary. It's just really great information so that you don't have to start from scratch. And if you want to create a really sweet little handout using some of these materials, you can go on Canva. Canva is completely free. If you have the paid version, you have more options as far as photos and things, but really the free version is a great version. And you can make yourself a little brochure or a handout or even a little ebook. That way, if you're going to do something for a group, you can say, hey, ahead of the class time, here's an ebook for this. And that way they can read about it. They can print it if they want. You can also print out some handouts. So there's materials there. So that shouldn't stop you. I mean, I'm trying to think of all the barriers to teaching. And a lot of times it's, we don't have the materials, right? I don't know what to teach. I don't have anything to share. And maybe you don't have your own manual. You have Kathleen's manual, and obviously in her level 1 or level 2 or level 3 manuals, we don't really want to be sharing those sections, but you can take the teachings out of that and maybe in your own words, kind of share what those teachings are. So the next thing is, how long should your class be? So this depends. Like, obviously, if you're going to do a level 1 or level 2, your class has to be a minimum, I think, of what is it, Kelly and Alice K, 10 hours or 12 hours, I think is the minimum, right? So
10 to 12.
yeah. So, in some classes I know are as much as 16 hours. Some people do all day classes. Obviously, if you're doing it too online, like Alice K and Kelly and I do, it's 8 hours of instruction, but it's also at least 8, if not more, of homework. So you have that's a long class. That's a long commitment, especially if you're doing it online. That's a long commitment, 8 weeks. So maybe you just want to do something short. If you want to do an introduction, you really want to keep it at like an hour and a half. You want to keep people's attention. You don't want it to drag on for more than 90 minutes because you really start to lose people's attention when you're doing something simple. Also, you want to make sure that your action items, you only have a few, right? You want people to understand what you're teaching. Maybe you do some practice. You want to have time for Q&A at the end. So just timing yourself out. And also, how much do you have? Like when you're talking, when you're practicing it, how long does it seem like it's going to be? That will also give you another really great clue. Also, when you're thinking about the time, think about what you like, okay, what is your attention span? I mean, obviously you don't want to build your class around you, but you're like a great resource for yourself. Like check in and then ask your friends and family, like how long would you want to sit through an intro or through a stress relief? I know that our stress relief through SARA is only about 90 minutes. I've taught that online, and it's about 90 minutes is a good kind of safe time span because it gives you plenty of time to practice the meditations and also get feedback from attendees. Sometimes you only have a couple of attendees, right? Maybe you're doing it for shelter staff. If that's the case, then you probably keep it to around an hour. So you can say the class will range anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes, depending on attendance and Q&A. So I just want to say really quickly, welcome to Charisse and to Lisa, Liza, Anna, Anna, I think I said hi, and Dawn. And Eddie's here. Hello, Eddie. We haven't seen you for a while. And Beth is here, and Mary Lynn. So welcome, everyone. So we're just talking about teaching and getting yourself out there. So keeping it around 90 minutes. If you want to do something longer, like, we don't really have through SARA or through Kathleen, we don't have an in-between class, but for yourself, remember, if you're a teacher like Alice K and Kelly is, and even Reverend Melton is as well, you can create your own kind of a combo between like a beginning class and a level 1, right? So you can create something, maybe you certify yourself, just like this is a beginning Animal Reiki, and maybe you make it 4 hours, and you could do it at the shelter for 4 consecutive hours, or you could spread it out maybe over 4 days, or you could spread it out over 2 days. Just really like kind of play with it. It really is about experimenting. You don't know what you know. I know that I follow a lot of people in marketing, and I also have a couple of marketing mentors, and they were telling me that it's really hard to know if in-person events are going to be more popular again, or if online events are going to be more popular, because there are people that will pay $1,000 to attend like a marketing conference, one of these bigger marketing conferences, and they don't even show up. So it's not even that price is a barrier. It's not even that time. It's just really commitment is the barrier. What are people willing to commit to? And ever since COVID, it seems like it's been really hard to get people to commit to attending, to staying with something. Oh, that's okay, Lisa. No problem. So Lisa said, sorry for being late. Just know you can pop in and pop out. There's no kind of requirement that you stay the entire time or that you come on time. I understand life happens. The most important fact is that you're here and that you're sharing your light and your love. And so don't even worry about the fact that you have to pop in late or pop out early. It's totally fine. So again, when you're doing your classes, don't get discouraged if you do an in-person class and only 2 people show up and you thought 20 people are going to show up, right? It's okay. You're still getting the practice. you're still helping two people, and that's a lot. So, and don't compare yourself to other people, right? It's so easy to get caught in that trap of, I only had two people, Kathleen does things and she has, 50, 70, 100 people show up. It's just depending on your reach. It's depending on what was promoted for you. I know that Kelly and I have had this experience before. You go to teach and the location where you're going to teach at has said, oh, we're going to help you promote it. And then because of their schedule, because of what's happening with them, they don't end up promoting it as much. So you don't get the signups that you were hoping to. It's life. It's okay. Go with it, flow with it. Just know that the more people know about you, the more people that hear about you, the more people that will show up. And again, it's going to be a test. I can't say whether online is better or whether in person is better. You really have to test it out and see what the larger response is, and see not only what the larger RSVP response is, but what is the larger commitment response, right? So just give yourself that space to make mistakes and know that, okay, I'm going to do this in-person event. And I may have 5 people, I may have 15 people, whatever it is, I'm grateful for it. I'm going to work with it. And same with online. You could have just a couple of people, or you could have a really big response. Just be open to that. And remember, when you're starting out, people have to get to know you and they have to hear about you. Studies show you have to hear about something 7 times before you even think about committing. So don't be scared to get out and promote yourself through your social media and through email. Email is still one of the most powerful ways to get people to sign up and listen to you. Social media is not. Social media is good for awareness and good for people to kind of go, oh, this is happening. But most people don't sign up through social media. So just kind of know that. So if you put all your time into social media and a big social media campaign, and you're like, wow, I barely got any signups, know that that is not uncommon. That is actually very common. So put your time and energy into email as opposed to social media. That doesn't mean you can't do social media. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do social media. It just means that if you're looking to get your clients, social media is not where you should be devoting the major of your time. Look to your email list, look to networking, look to friends and family, right? So again, that comes back to email. If you want friends to promote you, you email them to say, hey, could you promote this class for me? And look to your network too, because like for me, I'm going to teach an in-person class in Sandy, Oregon at Zeb's Wish. And Zeb's has been it's a very small sanctuary, but they've been a sanctuary in SARA for years and years, and they lost their Reiki teacher. So they asked me if I would come and teach. And Taya Strom, who many of you know, she's going to help me promote it. So, that was really generous of her. But again, look to your network to help you promote. Maybe if your friend has a podcast, you could be on that podcast to promote your class. Or maybe if you have a friend that has a big email list, that they can promote that class for you. So look to other ways to promote along with the organization that you're going to be supporting. So I just wanted to look at these really fast. Diane said, what does it take to teach online going back and forth from New York and South Carolina? Would like to be online instead of worrying about where I'll be. Yeah, so to teach online, all you need is a Zoom account, Diane. And so you need to have an account that will let you, I think it's a paid account, that would let you do an hour on Zoom. So you unmuted. Do you have more questions?
Yeah. I thought I thought you needed special permission.
Okay, so thank you so much for saying that. You need special permission to teach Kathleen's licensed level 1, 2, and 3 classes. That is what you need permission for. You can't teach anything from these manuals online unless you have permission from Kathleen. So you cannot certify anyone in a level 1 let animals lead method of animal Reiki. But that is not to say that you can't teach an intro class, that you can't teach a beginning class. You can teach, you can use your own, you can create your own level 1 and teach that online. You just can't teach Kathleen's licensed material online. So you can teach her books online. She gives full permission for that. You could do a Reiki for Dogs class online. If you wanted, you could do a heart-to-heart with, horses, Reiki equine online. It's really up to you. You just can't do a certification and let animals lead method level 1, 2, and 3. That's only, like, I think right now there's only me, Kelly, and Alice Kay are doing that.
Right, there's only a couple. But how do you? Is there a way to
I
get
can't hear you.
permission to do, like, if I wanted to do a level 1 online?
You would have to create your own materials for that. So like, you can't use Kathleen's manual. I don't know if you're a level 3 student of Kathleen.
I'm a level 3, yes.
Yeah, you can't teach her materials online. So you can't teach a level 1 in Let Animals Lead method online, but you can create your own materials, your own level 1 manual, and you can teach that online. You just can't teach her materials. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, but my question is, what does it take to be able to? Nobody can. I mean, there's no exception. She doesn't
So
qualify anybody. Does it
yeah,
take like
no,
certain things to qualify a person to do that?
she does.
If I want to teach
She
her
does.
level 1,
She does, but she closed it this year, I think, because here's the situation, Diane, and I think that Alice Kay and Kelly can talk a little bit about this as well. It's not as easy to get online students as you would think. Yes, you probably could fill a class or two, but to get it consistently, and that's what Kathleen was kind of focusing on, is that it doesn't make a lot of sense to license a bunch of people when the core group isn't getting a lot of students. We aren't, if we're not filling our classes, then for her, it's kind of like, well, then right now might not be the time to continue licensing people. So I don't know, Alice Kay, I don't know if you've heard if she's going to be opening this program up again.
Well, Kathleen and I had that conversation early this year. And Diane is one of my wonderful students. So, and, I suggested to her, hey, especially students who have gone through the whole program, level 1, 2, and 3 online with those of us. This is Macy, by the way.
Hey, Macy.
And so their learning experience in the Let Animals Lead method has been all online. They've seen that model. They love that model. Naturally, they would like to be able to teach just the way they've learned. So I'm trying to encourage Kathleen to maybe open that door. And I think it would be great to have more licensed online teachers. But meanwhile, for now, Diane, just like we've talked about, just like Leah is encouraging you, the sky's the limit, really, in terms of what you could create. And according to what are some of your special interests, as well as the interests of your target audience. Mm-hmm. Are you most interested in cultivating a student base of people who work primarily with dogs, let's say, create materials that would appeal to that audience. You can, as long as you're mindful of all the copyright restrictions and not overstepping anything that is Kathleen's proprietary method, you're free to create and teach online or wherever.
Well, that's the whole thing for me. I don't have that creativity to take everything I've learned in one and redo it in my words to make a whole class. I don't think I mean, I guess I could be capable of it if I really worked at it, but I'm not one that really wants to spend all that time doing that.
Well, I think that, like what Alice Kay was saying, like, let's say dogs are your specialty. Yeah. Use Reiki for Dogs. That is an amazing book. It's got the whole, if you look at the meditation.
Reiki for Dogs.
I have the book. No, I have it. Oh, I have all the books. I have it.
In that book, there's some really wonderful meditations, and they're all about grounding, connection, expansion. right? She covered them all. And you can, use that as your reference. Oh, we're going to do this meditation. And that way you're kind of helping your students by memorizing those meditations. You're actually walking them through those meditations. You could record those meditations for them. You can make your own class based just on that book. Everything Animal Reiki, that's another
And
one.
that's considered okay, even though it's
Yes.
Kathleen's book.
Yes.
That's something I can use and use
absolutely.
exactly as is and make a course out of it and
Right.
then give a certificate for it.
Yep. And it would be Reiki for Dogs by you. And then, your manual is the Reiki for Dogs book. And so you're basing it on Kathleen's teachings, but it's also your interpretation of the teachings, your perception, and you have a tribe, Diane, and your tribe wants to hear from you. I think Judy on the call? Yeah, Judy's on the call. So Judy just did a talk and it was really wonderful. She had 10 people and she learned that, oh, she has a tribe as well. Your tribe wants to hear from you in your words, right? And so I think it's a great opportunity for you to join. Yeah, Miranda.
Yeah, yesterday during class, we had this conversation with Alice Key. And next week, I will finish my level 3.
Oh,
and
congratulations.
Thank you. And I think it was November, I held a masterclass online by Zoom. And for the shelter I'm volunteering, I said that people can follow it for free. And I had some people from Holland, somebody from Portugal, other place in Europe. So like my base is more worldwide because I'm born and raised in Holland. So I just made a presentation, really simple in Canva. I told about Reiki, I told about Let Animals Lead method, I told about my experience in the shelter, and I did a meditation with the people who were there, and people were like really, oh wow, you can meditate with your animal, with your dog. It was so nice experience for them. So it can be that simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what?
Okay.
I love that you called it a mastermind because a lot of people, they're very into that mastermind thing, right? So they want to hear that, oh, mastermind. Oh, this means, wow, that's big. And it's going to be a community of people that are like-minded. And it says a lot when you call it a mastermind. So bravo for doing that, Miranda, and thinking outside the box, because we have to think outside the box when we're doing this, right? We have to set ourselves apart. And so by calling it a mastermind or, a summit or whatever you want, and maybe you have a couple guest speakers come and help with your class. That's something else you can do. Here's a whole community of people who are doing this, who are sharing Animal Reiki, right? Who are teaching Animal Reiki. You can get people to come and talk, like Kelly is an expert in shelters, and Alice Kay, she's been doing this a very long time. She's a licensed online teacher. So, there's things that everybody has a perspective that they can bring to a mastermind or to a summit or something that you want to share online in a bigger way. And it's really great to offer it for free because you can say, hey, take this for free and drive people to your paid classes, right? So doing things for free, it's not that you want to do everything for free. It's not that you want to give away a ton of material for free and then get nothing out of it. There's ways. And so we might as well segue into charging right now. But before we do, I just want to do this really, look at the comments really fast. So, and welcome T, thanks so much for joining us. So Cherise says she can't talk, but she thinks the question becomes, what are the students getting out of the class if they're not getting a certification in Let Animals Lead? And I think that's Diane's question. Yeah. So what you can say, Diane, you can't certify people online as official Let Animals Lead practitioners, but you can, and I think that there is a way to say this, and if somebody has an idea, please unmute and say, but there is a way to say that they're certified in Reiki for Dogs based on the Let Animals Lead method, or, this is a beginning Animal Reiki class based on the Let Animals Lead method, right? So you're not certifying them as a Let Animals Lead practitioner, but you are certifying them as somebody who's studied in the Let Animals Lead method. And I don't know if anyone else, if Alice K. Kelly or Miranda, if anyone has
Yeah.
a comment about that.
You
Yeah,
know,
that
when
makes
I've taught those shorter courses, well, let me think, how have I done that? Yeah, I actually have often made some kind of a certificate, but it just says certificate of completion, introduction to, or, you know, I just make up whatever language it is. But more often, I've not given a certificate. It's just a class. You know, it's not a credential, it's a class.
Yeah. And
That's good.
and I think it's really up to you. And again, that's where you can kind of play around with it. Some people really like that certificate. They want that
Yeah.
certificate, right, Alice Kay? So
That's right. Yeah.
and so, you know, you kind of got to play with it. Like, where do you get a bigger response? Do you get a bigger response when you say you'll be certified or you'll get a certificate of completion in the Let Animals Lead method of Reiki for Dogs, right? Whatever that is, because even though Reiki for Dogs was written before Kathleen was calling it the Let Animals Lead method, it's still the Let Animals Lead way, because ever since 2006, that has been her ethos. Give animals agency, even though the words weren't there back in 2006, the whole process, the techniques, those are all still very much the same,
Animals lead.
going inward, right? So and then Cherise says, and then Kelly said, Diane, as Alice K's level 3, you still can teach in person, but your whole thing is, Kelly, she's in 2 different places, so she wanted to do
Right.
the online because
Right, it would be so
I
much
see.
easier than
Yeah.
worrying about, okay, I have something scheduled for March, but now I have to be here,
right.
you know?
Right. And again, you know, I think that it's you have to play around with it. I mean, I don't know if Kathleen is open to hybrid classes where you would do half in person, half online. I don't know. We'll have to talk to Kathleen. This is really just kind of emerging and evolving right now. So, you know, for now, I would say, Diane, do the Reiki for Dogs, Heart to Heart for Horses, or one of the other many, many books that she has.
Right.
You can even do one on the Code of Ethics, which is, you know, a really great foundational teaching. You can certify them in, you know, having be certified in, you know, that book that is based on our Code of Ethics. So that's a
Right.
really, in fact, I don't know, Alice K and Kelly, we should think about that, like as
Yeah.
foundational
And
certification.
Leah, I got to just toss in here.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do to help my level 3 graduates gain more experience in teaching is I invite them to come back and be part of my level 1 and 2 classes. And so Diane's been doing that. And yesterday she gave a fantastic teaching presentation on the Code of Ethics. The way you did that was
Thank you.
just so excellent. So you could just, with a little bit of expansion, do exactly what you did yesterday online and create a class just around the Code of Ethics and use the book. Do you have Healing Virtues? Kathleen's
No,
book, Healing
that
Virtues.
I don't have.
which she
Oh,
explained-
Diane, you should have the electronic version for sure, because that
Okay.
we give away. Let me grab my notes really fast so I don't forget. But I can send that to you, Diane,
Thank you. Thank you.
because you should have that as part of level 1. So Healing Virtues to you. So I want to keep moving here, but I want to make sure that we have everybody's things. And then, okay, so Cherise says, would they then be able to take another level of Let Animals Lead online with you or someone who is certified online? Would they be able to get permission to do that? Yeah, of course. I mean, well, obviously, level 1, anyone could take. Level 2, it's really up to the teacher to decide whether or not, like for Kathleen, I think that Kathleen only takes people in level 2 that have done her level 1. She has a whole process and that's her thing. But as a teacher, she always says, you can decide for yourself. what your requirements are. So sometimes I know that Alice Kay and Kelly, you probably had the same situation. Sometimes a student comes to me and I can tell just by talking to them, they already know a lot. They're already doing like the Let Animals Lead way. Maybe they haven't studied. And so the Animal Reiki for Reiki practitioners or level 2 is okay and appropriate. And I know that they're going to understand it. But you get some students who really are like, it would be better if you started from the beginning. So it's really just kind of up to the teacher. Yeah, Miranda.
Yeah, I have a question. What is your experience? The most of people just want to learn how they can meditate with the animal, or does the most of the people want to learn to become a Reiki practitioner?
Well, that's a hard question to answer because most people that reach out to us want to be certified in the Let Animals Lead way, right? So we very rarely get people who just want like an intro class. It's mostly people, but that's my own personal experience. I don't know if Kelly and Alice Kay, if they have a different experience with that. What do you think, Alice Kay? When you get outreach, is it mostly for your level classes?
Yeah, when people contact me, it's because they want a certification program, and I think they're seeing themselves as eventually doing this professionally.
Yeah.
But I think really the growth point is these smaller, shorter classes. If what we really want to do is reach out into the world and really elevate human awareness of the animal kingdom, and really help more people see all animals as our healers and teachers, we've got to offer smaller chunks of it, smaller commitments to be able to give more people all around the world a taste of what this is, to increase their awareness, and then whatever they want to do with that in their lives. Not everybody's going to want to become a professional practitioner of the method, but to really impact and change people's way of thinking. I think these smaller courses have a tremendously important role to play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, we can give the other classes, and then if people want to be a practitioner, then we can send them to the people who do it online, like you guys.
Yeah. And then eventually, I mean, I do see Kathleen eventually opening this up, but again, it's like Alice Kay said. So if you think about this like this, you can have 50 online teachers, right? But right now, the knowledge about Animal Reiki in general, like not even Let Animals Lead, just Animal Reiki, is very small. The people who then want to take a Let Animals Lead class is even smaller, because there are many Animal Reiki classes out there where they charge a lot less than our classes. The reason our classes are priced the way they are is, one, the manual is over 250 pages. I think all three of them are about 280 pages. They're amazing. They're beautiful. They're expensive. They're an average of $50 each. So you've got that cost. And then as teachers, we've spent a lot of money and continue to spend money on our continuing education, right? So we are growing with Kathleen. Now, these other classes, you can take level 1 and level 2 for maybe $400 for both. But here's the problem with those other classes. You're not going to get what you get with the Let Animals Lead. But in order to get that out there, it's really hard. So you can't have a bunch of online teachers when really there's not even the buy-in isn't there, right? So I compare it to like the cannabis industry in Oregon. When cannabis came to Oregon, Colorado had already been legal. Colorado is got Denver, it's got all these big cities. It's a bigger state. They've got tons more money. So they were making more money. Well, here's little Oregon. Little Oregon goes legal, goes recreational, and everybody's like, I'm going to make $10 million next year. I'm going to make this. And I'm like, does anyone know basic math? First of all, you don't have the people with money in Oregon. You don't have the population in Oregon. You don't have the people that are willing to spend money consistently, right? So you kind of have to look at it in the same way with Animal Reiki. We don't have the population yet that is interested in Animal Reiki. And I think that Alice Kay has really hit on something, but we do have a population that is wide, millions and millions of people who are interested in meditation, who are interested in creating peace, who are interested in connecting with animals. They may not want to make a huge investment on a $400 class, but they may be very interested in making an investment in a smaller class, especially if it's free or if it's just a very nominal fee, like $50 or whatever that is. I mean, so that is where the focus should be. Because of course, yes, we all want to be out there teaching level 1 and level 2 and level 3. Yes, it's great. But even for me, I mean, I don't fill my level 3 classes. It's really hard for me to even book a level 3 class because I may only get 1 or 2 students, which is great. But I also want to make sure that my teachers are out there teaching, and it's just a little bit harder. So just consider all of the things. Kelly, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that in answer to Miranda's question, I have had a lot of interest in my meditation with animals play days and things like that, fundraisers that are open to anybody. And sometimes I get classes from that and sometimes I don't, but a lot of times the people who aren't already looking for a class or education in Animal Reiki are looking for ways to connect with their animals. And so even that, that word gets out there. I took this great workshop, or, it's this meditation day. And so, we don't know, we plant that seed, what's going to happen.
Yeah. And like doing meditation groups, like meditating for peace for the animals, doing these and getting your name out there, right? As somebody, they're, oh yeah, I love Miranda. She does these great meditations. They're really effective. I used her practices. And yes, it's Kathleen's techniques, but you are teaching them, right? So one of the ladies I study with, Denise Duffel Thomas, who I absolutely love, who talks about money blocks, she actually teaches something called money archetypes. It isn't her program, but she has made it her own program. And she says, she gives credit. I can't remember the woman who created it. She gives credit to that woman, but she says, but I've taken it and this is my program, right? The way she's presenting it is her own twist. The way that she is talking about it is through her perception and her teachings. And everybody loves her because of the way she teaches. And so it's the same for you. It's like, or anybody here. Yes, you're teaching Kathleen's techniques, but you're also creating something that is through you and your perception. And you have a tribe. You have people who want to hear your way because they're like you. They're a lot like you. So they want to hear it from you. So just remember that. And Mary Lynn was asking, yes, for an introductory presentation, you can use the Let Animals Lead pillar graphic. Just make sure that you're always keeping the copyright on it, keep Kathleen's logo on it, keep everything on it the same. And of course, you're welcome to share that. Anything you could share anywhere, as long as you keep that copyright, right? Out of the manual, you have to ask Kathleen's permission, but the Let Animals Lead graphic, which all of you should have, that one is very easy. And I want to hurry and wrap this up because I also want Reverend William Melton to talk a little bit about Compassion Consortium and another way to get out there in the public by taking one of his courses. But so Mary Lynn, I know you're getting ready to do a presentation, which is really great. And you're going to be talking about, I think, human Reiki and animal Reiki, right? So you can go ahead and unmute. Oh, let me see if I can ask you to unmute, if that'll help.
Okay.
Are you asking?
There we go.
Yeah.
Super. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, the flyer, the local library is sponsoring me, and the flyer is completed, and the introduction summary description is completed, and so yes, I will talk a little bit about the connection between human Reiki and animal Reiki, but I'm going to focus it primarily on meditating with your animal.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I think in that case too, we always have to be really careful if we're talking about human Reiki when it comes to animal Reiki, just as a side note, because a lot of people want to go, oh, this is human Reiki adapted for animals. This is not human Reiki adapted for animals at all. And that's what I would include in your presentation. Yes, there's human Reiki, placebo effect works with humans, all these other things, right? But with animal Reiki, the Let Animals Lead method, which you're going to be sharing, it's about agency, it's about non-touch, it's about all these other things. So we just want to make sure that you're, and that goes for anything. When you're going to talk about something, make sure that you really know what you're going to say and what you want to share and what you want the outcome to be, right? So there has to be an outcome. What do you want people to walk away with when they walk away? Do you want them to walk away knowing how to do certain breathing techniques? Do you want them to walk away knowing all about our code of ethics? What is it that you want the learning objective to be? And then that will help you to stay focused on what you're going to be sharing and what you're going to be, getting at the end, I guess. It's like, maybe you want people to understand that this is how you do that. Now you want to upsell your level 1 class, right? So if you're upselling anything, whether it's a beginning animal Reiki or whatever it is, make sure you have a sign up or a link or whatever it is that you want to do. And then Liza said, I love these alternatives and creative ideas for teaching classes. This really opens up some different ways to share it. Yeah. And so I want to share one more quick thing. So I had a conversation with the founder of Evertreen. So Evertreen is an incredible group of people that is planting trees in kind of third world countries like Africa to help with sustainability, to help support the local economy, and to help build back wildlife. God, I cannot talk today. What am I trying to say? Wildlife homes. They're trying to
Habitat.
Habitat. Thank you. Trying to restore natural animal habitats. And so I talked to them about it. They gave SARA a code. I'm going to be sending out an email about this, and you can plant a tree for $1. So it's a really cool organization. So when I'm talking to them about partnering with SARA and about, this wonderful opportunity, I say to them, hey, can I teach you guys what we do? Because they're like, oh, we love what you're doing. But I go, well, can I teach you? Can I do a little intro class for you guys? And I started to talk to them about their dogs and, and that relationship and how to deepen that relationship. And they're all like, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Wow. This is really cool. Because people can look at our website. They can come to your website. They can say they understand it, but they don't really understand it until you start talking about it. But what's really cool is I'm going to do that for free. I'm going to give them that. Who cares if 2 employees or all of their employees show up? Doesn't matter. Because now guess what we can say on the SARA website? We taught the staff at Evertreen. Okay. And then hopefully they'll give us some testimonials. And that's what I'm going to ask for. Hey, in exchange, I'm not going to charge you, but would you mind filling out this quick little survey? Google Forms, you can do a quick survey. I can show you guys how to do that. I can make a loom about that. It's so freaking simple. And then you get the answers right away. As soon as they fill it out, boom, it goes right into your little form thing. But you can do that in exchange. So think about different businesses that are around you that you could maybe say, hey, I'll come and teach your staff for free for an hour. And then you can get testimonials and you can say on your website, hey, I taught the staff, blah. And I learned this from Sean Fargo, who has a meditation school. And he says, oh, I taught Google, Tesla, Facebook. Guess what? He did it for free. So he can then say on his website, I taught all these things. So it's a great thing to go out and teach for free. So before we run out of time here, I want to turn it over to Reverend William Melton to talk a little bit about his offering. And maybe Reverend Melton, if you want to just share anything about the topics that we've been sharing and what you've experienced as far as like online courses versus maybe in person.
Are you ready?
Yep, we're ready.
Okay, all right. So, well, actually, I was here just to learn because I just found the subject to be very fascinating and helpful to me, and it has been. It has been very good. So, I am with the Compassion Consortium, and I came through the Compassion Consortium kind of a strange way, because I woke up one morning, and all of a sudden I said to my wife, Victoria Moran, that, you know what, I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. And this was like I was in my mid 60s. And I want to instead help animals. And so I actually quit being a lawyer, and I started with the Compassion Consortium. I went to seminary for 2 years. I spent 2 years with SARA's training, which was so important to me. And so now all of a sudden here I am. And I now, and I'm, you know, I should say that I had a stroke, and I suffer from aphasia. And so you'll see that I have trouble sometimes speaking and saying words. But anyway, here I am, and I have organized the Compassion Consortium. And so, you know, we're a spiritual organization, and I believe that there is an absolute connection between spiritual Reiki and what we do at the Compassion Consortium. And so, I don't know, was there anything else that I
So what program you have a chaplaincy program, right? Could you just share a little bit about that? Because for people who do Animal Reiki, this is actually a really great next step.
Yes, we have a program called the Animal Chaplaincy Training Program, and it's very, very successful. We had 50 people who joined us last year. This year we've got about 60, and what we try to do is to what we try to do is to offer animal chaplaincy to people, and I will say that in our animal chaplaincy program, if we have like 60 people this year, I would say many of them are actually in your program.
Yes,
because there is such a I mean, it's so connected.
yes.
And so, yeah, we do that, and it's a 9-month program, and it's available. I don't think I said, but our website is compassionconsortium.org, and you would find our animal chaplaincy program right there on the website. And I'll just say that we believe, or maybe I should say, I believe that animals have a soul. And I mean, this hasn't always been true for me. I mean, I was an absolute atheist until I joined the seminary, but I have come to believe that animals have a soul. And I spent 2 years working at Tamerlane Sanctuary, and it's just so clear to me that, well, actually all beings, but particularly animals, they possess a soul, and what I try to do is connect to them, and you know. So anyway, I'm having trouble speaking, but go ahead.
No, I think that's wonderful. And so I'm going to put a link in the recap to Reverend Melton's site, but it's just something to consider. And like Reverend Melton has said, that we actually have a lot of our own members in this program. And the reason for that being is it's just a natural progression to deepen your connection to animals and to have another offering, and an offering that's actually really complementary. And I hope that you're inspired by Reverend Melton, because as he said, he was an attorney until at age 66, he decided that he wanted to do something different. And remember, I told you, I think last week, that there are studies that show that once you get into your 60s, you're actually better prepared to do things like be an entrepreneur and create things out of thin air, like Reverend Melton did. And so, Reverend Melton, Cherise said, I just went to the website. I am blown away. Thank you so much. I had no idea about this program, Reverend Melton. Your words were clear and I heard it in the heart. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We just love having you here. So we're going to close now with a meditation. And next week, I think that we were going to do the loving kindness, but if you want, we can continue this conversation about classes, because I'm sure that some of you have more questions about this. Yes. And we can go a little bit deeper into creating some of these courses. So one thing you're going to want to do is we're going to be doing a meditation, right? And so, oh my gosh, Mary Lynn said, I had a dream message about being one. Thank you, Reverend Melton. So yay, this is all very good. And and this is the importance of community. So if like let's say Miranda was going to do a mastermind, she might want Reverend Melton to come and talk about the different ways that we can use what we're doing with animals and then expand it, right? And so not only are you helping support someone like Reverend Melton's program, but you're also supporting your students, right? There is abundance in the universe. We don't have to be afraid of lack, because there's more than enough out there. So it's really good to make connections, make relationships with others, and then promote each other. So Reverend Melton promotes SARA, and he and his wife, Victoria Moran. And for those of you who don't know, Victoria Moran is a very famous vegan. She has an incredible book, Main Street Vegan. I had it. It's a great book. If you're looking to go vegan, this is a great starting point. And she also has a podcast. So together they are quite the team. So thank you so much, Reverend Melton. But I encourage you all to look that and then think of in your own community other people you can connect with and promote, and maybe they will actually help promote you as well. So when we're going to do a meditation in like for a presentation, and you're probably going to be with people who don't know how to meditate, you want to keep your meditation short. You want to keep it simple, but you want to make it a little bit profound and give them kind of steps, right? To walk people through. So I always like to tell people ahead of time, inside of you, there is a beautiful light. That is your true nature. It is a light of love and compassion, and it's what the animals see and connect with. So what we're going to be doing with this meditation is we're going to be connecting to that light within you and helping you expand that light. So we always go into Gosho, and this is just a prayer pose. But I also tell people, you might have someone in your class that only has one arm, right? And so they can't go into Gosho. So what we want to do is, if you can't go into Gosho or prayer pose, you can put your hand on your heart. And so let's say you're at a hospital and people are in a hospital bed and can't bring their hands together. You can say, just envision yourself coming into Gosho. So what we do when we come into Gosho or come into prayer pose is we're bringing left and right together. You're doing yin and yang, right? Bringing yourself into balance with just this simple pose, simple meditation. And then we always want to close our eyes, because when we close our eyes, we close out all outward distraction. We're really bringing our attention, our focus inward when we close our eyes. And so we're just going to take a couple cleansing breaths, breathing in deeply through our nose, and then allow the breath to escape out your mouth and not your nose. So, and the reason for that being is that by breathing out your mouth, it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. So breathing in and then breathing out. And now bringing your breath back to a natural state. And we're going to set our intention that we're open to receive whatever it is that we need most at this moment in time. And that we set our intention that we are holding space for all sentient beings. And whenever you're ready, you can bring your hands face up or face down on your lap and bringing our attention to our breath, pulling your breath gently in through your nose, down your chest and into your belly. Expand your belly and then slowly release your breath out your nose or out your mouth, whichever is more comfortable. And just a couple more breaths like that, making that connection with your belly, your hara is what we call that. And then slowly release. I want you to envision you are breathing in a clear light and you're pulling that light down into your belly, and that light is connecting to your inner light. And as these two lights connect, your inner light expands. And on the out breath, you expand that light through your body, breathing in this beautiful clear light, and then expanding your own beautiful light throughout your body. Feel your body filling up with this beautiful light. This light can be gold or white or purple or pink. It is your own unique light. It is the light that the animals see and connect with. It is your beautiful light of love and compassion and peace. As you breathe in and out, this light within you grows brighter and brighter until it starts to seep out every pore of your being into the space around you. As you gently breathe in and out, envision yourself surrounded by this beautiful light, knowing that this is your unique light. It is the light you use to connect to animals, to connect to people, to connect to your environment. In this space, you are love, you are compassion, you are joy. And let's just take a moment to bring to mind an animal that we love deeply, an animal that brings love and joy to our hearts, and see them as a beautiful light. See their beautiful light connecting with yours, amplifying the light within you. And in this beautiful space of love and light and connection, we understand deeply that we are all one. You are one with this beautiful animal you love, but you are also one with nature, one with all other animals, one with the universe and universal love. You are an integral and important part of universal love. And when we focus on love, we focus on compassion, we actually amplify and uplift universal love. So just sit for a moment in this beautiful space of love, peace, joy, and connection. Allow your focus to be on your breath, on that beautiful energy of love. We bring our hands into Gasho so we could slowly bring ourselves back. Or maybe you rub your hands together, open your eyes. You might rub your hands on your face and bring yourself back and say thank you to the animal who joined you, and give thanks to yourself for being open to this practice and for being here today. So thank you all so much for joining us. And we will continue this next week because I think that there's a lot to talk about, a lot more to discuss. Hopefully Alice Kay can join us again, Kelly and William and everyone else as well. And if you have questions about, let's say, about, just how do you kind of organize the information, right? That's really important. You have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And again, thinking about what you want your outcome to be is really important when you're creating your class, no matter how long it is. even when you're doing a level 1 class and you have studied with any of us on a teacher level, you got to think about, what do you want your level students to walk away with? And that's been my question. As I'm trying to create my flyer for a level 1 at Zeb's Wish, I'm like, what do I want people to come away with? And you need to ask this for every single class you do, because it's going to change. You're evolving as a teacher. Your teachers are evolving, or your teachings are evolving. So your outcome is going to evolve and maybe change. The way you talk about things could change. So always be asking yourself that really important question: what do I want my students to walk away with, no matter what that class is? And that's really going to help you also promote your class, because you're going to be able to easily say, when you are finished with this class, you're going to walk away knowing A, B, and C, or you're going to walk away being able to do A, B, and C, right? You want to give them like 3 objectives. 3 is a magical number. And we can talk more about that next week. And so we'll do loving kindness the following week. So thank you all so much for being here. Eddie, it's so good to see you. You haven't been here in a while, so great to see you. And for everyone else who joined us, thank you so much. And I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Oh,
Thanks, Leah. Thanks for doing this.
yeah, of course. And thank you, Alice, Kay, and Kelly, for all your expert information, and Miranda too. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
the great-
Leah. Thanks, everybody. Have a
For the
good
great
week.
info. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.